Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Karibuni tena kwa channel yetu Mind Mastery Tutor, na leo tutafanya hii paper is just an assessment. Is an assessment of a school called the Kenya High School KCPE Assessment 2. Nadhani cards yao waliofanya. So we're going to do that, and it's just few marks. It's 50 marks at least, but I think 50 marks is better than none. So again, if you haven't subscribe to my channel. And again, if you have business exam papers waweza kunitumia pia nikazifanya. Nataka nianze pia upload business exam papers, biology exam papers, Arabic exam papers, and a lot of papers. So if you have papers, then just kindly tell me, or you can text me through this number. So kwa wale ambao wataka kuingia group yetu, kuna group ya grade 10. You can join our group 0797550885 nitafute, or hiyo group waweza ukaipata pia kwenye profile yangu, kuna link pale tumeweka. So nenda kwa profile, you'll see the links that are there. So let's start. Question 1. Chemistry is best defined as chemistry involves composition, structure, properties of matter, and the changes it undergoes. So anything relating to matter, the reaction that it takes, that it has. So that is what is chemistry. So it's not the study of stars. Hatusomi mambo na stars hapo. It's not astrophysics. Study of composition, structure, and properties of matter. Study of numbers, symbols, no. Study of living organisms, including plants, animals, and microorganisms, ni biology. So we don't study about that in chemistry. But there's sometimes which we connect biology to chemistry, especially kuna a special course called biochemistry. Question 2. Elements X, Y, and Z have electronic configuration as shown. So X is 1, S2, 2s2. Y ni 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. So hii iko na electrons nne. Ukiangalia tu, angalia to the powers. So plus 2 ni 4 electrons. Now this one iko na electron 1, 2, 2 plus 2, 4 plus 6, 10 plus 2 ni 12 electrons. Sawa, na hii iko na 2 plus 2, 4 plus 6, 10, 12, 18, and 20. So those are 20 electrons. Sawa. So state to which group do they belong? Lazima mwanzo tujue. So hii ni 4 electrons, na ni kama ni 4 electrons, obviously itakuwa 8, 8. Lakini hata bila kujua hizi waweza jua tu hivi by looking at it. Normally group 2 elements utaona kwa katika s orbital zao za mwisho iko na 2 electrons. So if you look at this and this, lazima itafika s orbitals ambazo ziko na 2 electrons. So this is group 2. So all 3 belong to group 2. If it is 2 valence electrons. State the valency of the elements. The valency of the elements obviously is valency 2. All have valency. Which branch of chemistry deals with compounds containing carbon? That's called organic chemistry. In organic chemistry, it deals with compounds that are non-carbon compounds. In short, organic, the carbon compounds that contain carbon. Inorganic, compounds that do not contain carbon. For example, that is alkali metals, alkaline earth metals. So organic chemistry is the study. It deals with compounds containing carbon. Those are called hydrocarbons. We have ethanol, alcohol, alkanol, alkanoic acid, which you'll study it later. Question 4. State the difference between oxidation number and the charge on the ion. So that is a very, very important thing that you should know. Oxidation number. Okay. Let me just write it this. It's just the apparent charge assigned to an atom. It's the apparent assigned in a compound or an ion. Or ion. Based on the assumption that bonding electrons are assigned to the more electronegative atom. Okay, basi lazima hii yote just the apparent charge, don't need tuandike mambo mingi. Now that is why ukiona oxidation number is mostly +2, imeandikwa hivi oxidation number +2. It's just an apparent charge assigned to an atom in a compound or an ion. So based on the assumption that bonding electrons are assigned to the more electronegative atom. Assigned, again this is just 1 mark, sijui faida yake nini, so si lazima. So it's just a charge on an atom appears to have in a compound or an ion. Then we have ion. An ion is the actual electrical charge carried by an ion. That is the charge on the ion. Now the charge on the ion is the actual charge, is the actual electrical charge, the one that is really there. Let me do this. Electrical charge carried by an ion due to loss against electron, then find a charge on that loss or gain of an electron. Question 5, draw a dot cross diagram to illustrate the atomic structure of the potassium atom. So which is very simple. I think you'll see it in my last video about this as well. You can easily repeat. Now, potassium atomic number yake 19, mass number 39. If you want to get the number of neutrons, obviously you take the mass number minus the atomic number, which is 39 minus 19, which will give you 20. So neutrons tayari wajua ni 20. Protons is usually your atomic number, which is 19, and the electrons is equal to the number of protons in a neutrally charged atom, which is also 19. So 19 is going to be 2, 8, 8, 1. So that is 19. So those are 4. Yani kubwa sana. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So this is your potassium. Sorry, yeah. So this is your potassium, then you have this one, then we have this one. Okay, so remember this just the nucleus, and because you have 4 energy levels, 1, 2, where this is the second, the third, and the lakini nachora kubwa kubwa mimi mwenyewe. Let me just draw the small ones. This one, first, second, third, and fourth. So and connect right here. 19 protons and 20 neutrons. Now, then we draw 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 8, 1. So first energy level, 2 electrons. Second, 8, that's 8. And then we have another 8. And then we have just 1 here. So this is potassium, which is represented as K. So that is the element itself. So now, question 6. Chemistry contributes to medicine by developing drugs and vaccines. That's the most probable answer. Producing fertilizers. How is it related to medicine? I don't think that's related to medicine. Making plastic gloves, not even related to medicine. Predicting the future of the people, whether they'll die or they'll survive. That's the only God can do that. So the most probable answer is developing drugs and vaccines. So we use chemistry to develop certain drugs that will cure diseases or will prevent diseases from occurring. So that is the answer to that question. Now let's continue with the other one. This one. Question 7, fill in the spaces, the blank spaces in the table below. These are called radicals. And we know that radicals are usually group of atoms. They are a group of atoms that act as a unit in a chemical reaction. So they act as a unit in a chemical reaction and has a net charge. And has a net charge. But remember, a group of atoms. The group of atoms. So if you look at this ones, they are a group of atoms. Again, let me just wrap them because it cover a whole space. Now these are radicals. If you look at the anions, you look at the cations, Mambiwa fill in the blank spaces in the table below. So we have cations and then we have anions. Now, so what does this mean? By the way, so the ions given are these are the anions, these are the cations. So the formulas. So ikiwa uko na ndio maana nashangaa. So lithium phosphate itakuwa lithium, ushaona iko na positive, so itakuwa na 1. Phosphate ni 3 minus 4, yani valence yake ni 1. So itachukua 3, itachukua 1, and therefore you're going to get lithium Li3 and phosphate. Don't write any charge there. Lithium sulfate. Lithium again, we have sulfate. Sulfate iko na valence ya 2. So lithium itachukua 2 and sulfate moja. So lithium itakuwa Li2SO4. Now lithium hydroxide. So which is also easy. OH, which is minus valence 1, lithium itachukua 1, hydroxide 1. So just write it as lithium hydroxide. And then we have nitrate. Okay, so nitrate, which is this one. So 1, lithium itachukua moja, nitrate itachukua moja, so it's going to become lithium nitrate this way. Now let's go to magnesium and phosphate. So magnesium is supposed to be this way, and phosphate. So magnesium is 2 plus. So magnesium ni 2, phosphate ni 3. Magnesium itachukua 3, phosphate itachukua 2. So magnesium, which is written like this, write it this way. Ifanya hivi. This is not a capital M. So magnesium itachukua 3 because of phosphate. Phosphate ion has a valence of 3. Phosphate itachukua 2, and this is where most of the students usually confuse. Phosphate ikichukua 2 utaweka 2, utafunga bracket the phosphate one because this is a radical, utafunga utaweka 2. So usifanye P times 2 sijui you'll get wrong. So the same thing with magnesium. Magnesium is magnesium. So the same thing with sulfate. Sulfate valence yake ni 2. So just simplify. So itachukua 2 sulfate itachukua moja, magnesium pia itachukua moja, so magnesium sulfate. Hydroxide, okay, hydroxide. So hydroxide, which is OH minus, magnesium ni 2 1, magnesium itachukua moja, hydroxide itachukua mbili, so magnesium into brackets OH. So lithium magnesium nitrate, ewa nimefuta magnesium plus valence nitrate 1, so kwa 1 nitrate itachukua, tutaandika hapa magnesium 1 which is NO3, lakini taeka mbili. Let's go to aluminium, the last one. Aluminium sasa is the same thing. Aluminium iko na valence ya 3, and then we have phosphate, valence yake ni 3 pia, so they cancel out and they form, just take 1 and 1 each one of them. So aluminium phosphate itaandikwa hivi. Now let's go to sulfate. Sulfate is somehow very different. So sulfate ni 2 minus, so aluminium 3, sulfate mbili, itachukua 2, itachukua mbili, itachukua 3 nyingine. Aluminium 2 SO4 3. Now hydroxide is this one, OH minus is going to say is B1, aluminium itachukua moja, hydroxide itachukua 3, and therefore is going to be aluminium into brackets OH 3. Then we have nitrate, the last one. So nitrate, same thing. So nitrate iko na valence ya moja, hii iko na valence ya 3, na hii ni moja, aluminium itachukua moja, nitrate itachukua 3. So you're going to write it as Al into bracket NO3 3. So that's it. Those are your answers. So, now study what's the name of this structure. This is sodium ion. Now obviously hapo zitakuwa ni chloride minus, and this structure we call it an ionic giant. Ionic, sije kuandika ionic structure, we call it a giant ionic structure. Is because it's between a metal, which is sodium, plus a non-metal, which is chloride. So it's a giant ionic structure. So on the diagram, circle the chloride ions bonded to the sodium ion. So ile ambao ni red is usually the sodium, zile ambazo ni blue are usually the chloride. So it's much easier. So let me just circle it. Ni hii, kuna ile ingine nyuma hapa, hii and this one. So those are the chloride ions. So circle them. So is that 6? Oh, no, wait. Bonded to the sodium ion shown. Na confused, naona idhani circle chloride ion zote. You just told to circle the ones that are bonded to the sodium ion shown, which is this one. Yeah. So it's this one, it's this one, it's this one, and it's also bonded to this one here. So yeah, is there another one? No, I think those are the ones. So question 10. It's a very short paper. Nadhani pia sisi tuko mwisho. Read the passage carefully before answering the questions. Magnesium is a common element found in chlorophyll. The green pigment in plants that enables photosynthesis. A magnesium atom has 12 protons. Hii ni muhimu. In its nucleus with electrons arranged in shells around it. The first shell contains the 1s orbital. The second shell contains the 2s, then 2p, with the third shell begins with the 3s orbital. The shape of orbitals determines how electrons are distributed. The s orbital is spherical and can hold a maximum of 2 electrons, while the p orbital is dumbbell shaped and can hold up to 6 electrons. Now, magnesium occurs naturally as isotopes such as magnesium 24, magnesium 25, and magnesium 26. And these isotopes define the number of neutrons but have the same number of protons and electrons. So the relative atomic mass of magnesium is calculated by considering the abundance of each isotope. Understanding atomic structure, electron arrangement, and isotopes helps scientists explain chemical behavior and apply chemistry in agriculture, medicine, and industry, especially uh, the cancer therapy one. So Roman 1, distinguish between an s orbital and a p orbital in terms of shape and electron capacity. So if you look at this, you'll understand everything. But now, in terms of the orbital, the s orbital, the s orbital is usually spherical in nature. Okay, if you read the thingy, the whole paragraph, you'll see somewhere that is spherical. Hata bila, but you should know, yani, it's spherical, and the p orbital is dumb bell shaped. So the p orbital is dumb, yani majibu ziko hapa tu, dumb bell shaped. Si kama sijui. Now, electron capacity, s orbitals usually takes a maximum of 2 electrons. That's something that you should know, and it's also within the passage. And the p orbital usually takes a maximum of 6 electrons. Now, how many electrons can occupy the 2p orbital of magnesium? Obviously, it's going to occupy six electrons. So it can hold a maximum of 6 electrons. So wait a minute. Lakini kwa vile ni magnesium, tuwe makini, usije tukasema tu magnesium ni 12, so itakuwa na 1s2, 2s2, those are 4, and then we have 2p6, so 1s2, 2 is only 10, then we have 3s, 10, 3s2, so hiyo ndo. So yeah, so the 2p carries a maximum of 6 electrons, which we are right. Now, what are isotopes? Isotopes are atoms of the same element, with same atomic number but different mass number. You can define it this way also. So atoms of the same element with the same protons but different number of neutrons. So this is another definition. As long as neutrons ziko tofauti, the number of neutrons are different, they're different number of neutrons. A good example is the carbon 12. Carbon 12 iko na mass number ya 12, na kuna nyingine carbon hiyo something like this. Ukiona the atomic number is the same but the mass numbers varies. Kuna 12, kuna 11, kuna 13, and etc. So those are isotopes of the same element, and the same element is carbon itself. Now, the isotopes of the magnesium occurs as follows. So we have magnesium 24, abundance yake 79%, magnesium 25, abundance yake ni 10%, magnesium 26, abundance yake ni 11%. Calculate the relative atomic mass of magnesium. So we do this way. The formula is very simple. That is, you find the mass number of isotope 1 times the percentage abundance of isotope 1 plus mass number of isotope 2 times percentage abundance of isotope 2 plus mass number of isotope 3 times percentage abundance of isotope 3, then divide it by 100. So mass number yako ni 24 ya kwanza times 79. So this and this plus this times this. So that is 25 times 10% plus 26 times 11%. Then divide by 100. Let's see how much is it going to give us. 24 times 79 plus 25 times 10 plus 26 times 11 and divide by 100 is going to give you 24.32. So that is the number. So question 11. Distinguish between the following terms: an octet rule and a duplet rule. A duplet rule, especially in helium. Helium it has a duplet state because it occupies 2 electrons. The first shell usually occupies a maximum of 2 electrons. Ndio maana ikaitwa duplet. Octet ni ile ambao katika shell yake, like for example neon, it can occupy 28. That is it can occupy maximum of 8 electrons. So that is the octet. Octet from the word octopus, which has 8 legs. Duplet, do or die, which carries 2 electrons maximum. So an octet rule, okay, atoms tend to gain, lose. So atoms tend to gain or lose or share, in whichever is like a gain or lose or share electrons to obtain 8 electrons in the outermost shell. Obtain 8 electrons in outermost shell. Let me just write it here. Now for the duplet rule, it's just much like the same, but there's a difference. So atoms tend to gain, especially hydrogen. So, but it's very specific. Atoms with only one shell. Atoms with only one shell. With only the first shell or with only one shell tend to achieve 2 electrons. Tend to achieve 2 electrons in the outermost shell by either gain or losing as well. So in the outermost shell, giving a stable arrangement like helium in the outermost shell to be stable. So now question Roman 2, chemical formula and chemical equation. A chemical formula, it represents just let me write it here. Chemical formula presents the elements present. We just represent the elements present in a substance and their proportions. In a substance and their proportions. So for example, uko na kitu kama sodium carbonate. It represents the elements that are there: sodium, carbon and oxygen. Proportions zake kuna sodium ngapi, carbon ngapi, oxygen. So that is a chemical formula. Now, a chemical equation ndo zile ambazo ziko na compounds then they react. So utaandika example hapa so that the examiner can understand, like H2O. So a chemical equation is the opposite now. A chemical equation represents a chemical reaction. So it represents, andika mwanzo, nini nimeandika tu summary. It represents a chemical reaction using chemical formula and symbol. Formula and symbols. Now, an example again, utaandika example, e.g. H2 plus oxygen, you're going to get H2O balance yake. The balance H2O, which is gas. Is it balanced? No. Inabidi tuweke 2 na tuweke 2 na tuweke 2. No. Tusiweke 2. Hii iko balanced. Write the chemical formula of calcium hydroxide, which is also one more. Calcium is number 12. Number 12 yamaanisha itaandikwa 2A2. So it means that it can lose 2 electrons, and therefore calcium valence yake ni ngapi? Ni 2. Hydroxide valence yake is always 1 because it's a radical. So calcium itachukua huyu moja na hydroxide itachukua huyu, and therefore you're going to get Ca1 into bracket OH2. Aluminium sulfate, aluminium na sulfate, which is written as this way. Aluminium ni 3+ kwa sababu iko group 3. Ukiangalia iko number 13, electronic configuration yake ni 2A3. So it loses 3 electrons. This one has 2, valence of 2. So the interchange, aluminium itachukua 2 na sulfate itachukua 3. Nadhani tayari tushaiandika hapo juu pia. Which compound is formed when oxygen combines with hydrogen? So ikiwa hydrogen plus oxygen, you're going to get water. So that compound is called water. See, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide ni carbon na oxygen. Ammonia is between nitrogen and hydrogen. So hii ni nitrogen and hydrogen. This one is carbon and excess oxygen. Methane is carbon and hydrogen to give you CH4. Question 14. Write a balanced chemical equation between magnesium, metal, and nitrogen gas. Now, magnesium metal is written as this way. Acha ni avoid kuandika hivi. Wajua wanafunzi wengi wanazoea hivi, sasa mimi najizoesha pia, which is very wrong. Magnesium inaonyesha capital M, G, then it's solid, plus nitrogen is usually di, so N2 yaja in di. So it's going to give you magnesium again, valence yake ni 2 because it's group 2. Katika chemical family, magnesium is in group 2, number 12 with 282. So it loses 2 electrons. Nitrogen is in group 5. Hey, listen, BBC news. So yeah, so nitrogen ni number 7, so it's 25, so group 5. But yani valence yake ni 3, it gains 3 electrons. So you get Mg3N2. So Mg itachukua 3 kutoka ya nitrogen na hiyo nitrogen itachukua 2 ya magnesium. So this is solid. Is it balanced? No. So hapa magnesium ni 3, itabidi tuweke magnesium 3. Nitrogen ni 2, nitrogen ni 2. Is it balanced? Yes, it is balanced. Question B. Illustrate bonding in the product formed in 14A above by using dots and crosses. Okay. Question B. Illustrate bonding in the product formed. Tushaisema. Now, this one is an ionic bond. And the reason because the reason is very simple. Kuna magnesium na kuna nitrogen. So it has magnesium and it also has nitrogen. It has magnesium and nitrogen in it. So it's very easy. Now magnesium tumesema ni 12. So magnesium ni 282 and nitrogen is 725. So hii ita lose 2 electrons. Na huu since is a non-metal is going to gain 3 electrons. So hapa imeandikwa Mg3N2. So mwanzo wacha tuchore tu hiyo Mg mwanzo, which will look like this. If it loses 2 electrons, then it's going to be 28. If it gains 3 electrons, it's going to be 28 as well. So Mg yetu, 2 shells, the first shell and the second shell. The first shell itakuwa na 2. Hebu nitoe hii 2. The second shell itakuwa na 8. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. And then piga ile kakitu hapo. So show it is 2+. Kwa sababu iki lose 2 electrons is 2+. Then tuchora nyingine na acha space hapa. So we have nitrogen which also will have only 2 shells, 1 2, lakini tumia dot sai. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. Nitrogen usually gains 3 electrons. So 1 2 3 4 5, and the 3 electrons are gained. so this way. So this is a 3 minus. Hapa tumesema ni Mg3, so yamaanisha we need 3 magnesium so that it can lose 3 magnesium to lose. So ukiona hata 3 times 2 ni 6 electrons is lost by the 3 magnesium, and then the N2. So hapa kwa nitrogen we need 2 nitrogen, so utaweka 2 hapa, haina haja ya uchore mambo mingi. That's the simplest way. 3 magnesium, 2 nitrogen, so that magnesium ita lose 3 magnesium loses 6 electrons and 2 nitrogen will gain those 6 electrons. So ukipiga times 2 itakupa bado 6. So 2 nitrogen gains those 6 electrons and 3 magnesium loses 6 electrons. As simple as that. Question 15. Write the electronic configuration and orbital diagram for aluminium 3+. Aluminium enyewe ni 13. So ni 13 electrons. So aluminium 3+ is 2A3. So 3+ yamaanisha is going to, hata si lazima niandike hii. So aluminium 3+ ita lose 3 electrons. So 13 minus 3 to give you 10. So aluminium 3+ itakuwa na 10 electrons. So wacha tuandike electronic configuration yake as per SNP. So utaanza na 1s2, 2s2, then we have is it 3s? No, 2p6. So yeah, zote ni 10 electrons, 2, 2, 2. So 2 plus 2 ni 4, 4 plus 6 ni 10. So that is the electronic configuration. The orbital diagram is going to be this way. So hii ni 1s, hii ni 1s. Wacha nifute nionyeshe ya 1s ni gani. 1s, 2s ni hii, so zitafaziwa pamoja, and then we have the 2p. 2p lazima iwe mara tatu, so kila box yachukua mbili mbili. 1s tayari iko filled, 2s iko filled, 2p 1 2 wanza hivi 3, then 4 5 6. So that is the orbital diagram, but you can put them together, by the way. If I'm not wrong, waweza kuziweka pamoja tu, sije kawa ni mushkil. The orbital diagram. So let's continue. We have the P3 minus, which is phosphorus. Phosphorus iko number 15. Ikiwa number 15 is going to be 285. So 3 minus, P3 minus yamaanisha hata si lazima niandike hii, so it has 15 electrons here. So 15 electrons, it gains 3 kwa sababu imeandikwa hapa 3 minus, so it gains 3 electrons, it becomes 18 electrons. P3 minus ni 18 electrons. So 1s2, 2s2 itakuwa hakuna nafasi, wacha niandike. We just know that it is 12 electrons. No, 18 electrons, sorry. Now, so we have 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, then tutaingia hapa kwa 3s2. So that gives us 2 plus 2, 4, 4 plus 6, 10, 12. Then we have 3p, hizo ni 10, 12, 18 minus 12 ni 6, so 3p6. Sawa, tuchore tu. So the 1s ni hii, and then we have the 2s, which is this one as well, iko paired. Then we have the 2p, which is mara tatu pia tena, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we have the 3s, which is also filled, 2 electrons tayari, and then we have the 3p. So 15 plus 3, yeah, 3p. 3p sasa takuwa na zote takuwa filled pia, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So that's the orbital diagram. Now, which elements, question 16, I think we are very near to finishing this thing. Question 16, which elements are present in the following compounds? Ammonium sulfate. Ammonium sulfate inaandikwa as NH4 2, so and then SO4. That is ammonium sulfate, kwa sababu valence ya sulfate ni 2 itaenda kwa ammonium, na valence ya ammonium ni 1 itaenda kwa sulfate. So elements that are here is nitrogen, okay, hydrogen, and sulfur only. No, hydrogen, sulfur and oxygen. Ukiona hii ni sulfur na hii ni oxygen. Sodium fluoride, sodium fluoride, sodium inaandikwa hivi. Sodium valence yake ni moja, fluorine valence yake pia ni moja, sodium fluoride. So this is just sodium and fluorine. Hata si lazima uandike chemical formula, but huwa ya kusaidia. Sodium and fluorine. This is because IDE represents the two elements. H represents oxygen iko ndani pia. Write balance chemical equation for the following reactions. That is sodium hydroxide plus sulfuric 6 acid to form sodium sulfate and water. So sodium hydroxide and sulfuric 6 acid. Sodium hydroxide is written as this. Sodium valence yake ni 1, hydroxide valence yake ni 1, ita interchange and therefore itakuwa NaOH. That which is aqueous unless kama ni pellets sijui. Sulfuric acid ni H2SO4, which is also aqueous. It gives you sodium sulfate, sodium valency 1, sulfate valency 2. Sodium itachukua 2, sulfate itachukua 1. Na2SO4, which is aqueous, plus water, which is liquid. Now, so let's balance this. Sodium moja, and I'll write that thingy. We have sodium, we have O, we have hydrogen, we have sulfate on the reactant, and then we also on the product side we have sodium, OH and sulfate. Now, sodium ni moja, sodium upande wa product, sodium moja, oxygen ni 5, hydrogen ni 3, sulfate ni moja. Sodium upande huu ni 2, oxygen ni hii oxygen sijaongeza kwa ile sulfate, just yani nimeweka tu ndo maana takoroga. So let's say for now itachukua tu oxygen ya hii, so let's assume hii oxygen ni moja. Sawa, na upande wa product oxygen hapa ni moja pia, sulfate ni moja. Hii oxygen hapa nimeregard kama sulfate, so don't confuse that, nimechukua tu oxygen ya hapa, ni sawa. So most of the students usually confuse it. Sijaongeza na hii. Okay, hydrogen is 2, so upungufu iko kwa hydrogen yenyewe, so itabidi tuweke 2 hapa. Ukiweka 2 ishakuwa 4 hydrogen and oxygen tayari ishakuwa 2 tena, so itabidi tuweke 2 hapa iwe ni 4 hydrogen, 2 sodium ishakuwa 4 hydrogen sasa, 2 oxygen, so ishakuwa balanced. Second question, copper solid plus oxygen gas is going to give you copper 2 oxide. Copper valence yake ni 2, oxygen valence yake pia ni 2. It's interchange, simplify, and you're going to get copper oxide. Sawa, so let's balance it. So this is solid, copper moja, we have 1 copper, 1 oxygen, so upungufu iko kwa oxygen. Tukiweka 2, copper itakuwa 2, oxygen 2, so itabidi tuweke mbili hapa ndio iwe copper mbili, oxygen mbili, and it's balanced. Oof, I think this is the second last question. Where am I dot and cross diagram too? Now, question 18, study the diagram below and use it to answer the questions that follow. The letters do not represent the actual symbols of the element. What name is given to this diagram? Obviously, swali rahisi bana. Periodic table, ndio maana ni half a mark pia. Now, name the chemical families that where the following elements are found. Element L. Ukiangalia hii ni group 1. Ukienda hivi ni groups 2, 3. We also have 4, we have 5, we have 6, and we have 7, and we have 8. So that is group 7. So group 7 elements are usually called halogens. Chlorine, fluorine, hizo. And then we have F. F in group 2, and group 2 elements are called alkaline earth metals. So kumbuka hizi. So group 1, there's group 1. Group 1 tunaita alkali metals. Alkali metals. Group 2 tunaita alkaline earth metals. Group 7 halogens. And the last one is group 8. Group 8 tunaita noble gases or rare gases. Sawa. F tunasema ni alkaline earth metals. U is this one. We call it noble gases. And they include neon, krypton, xenon, argon, and etc. Y is an alkali metal kwa sababu iko group 1. What name is given to the shaded elements? These ones here. These ones are called transition metals. Transition elements. We call it transition metals. Now, that brings to our last question of the day. Now, we can call it transition metals or by the elements, whichever you want to call it. Last one. Draw dots cross diagrams to illustrate the formation of sodium atom from the sodium ion from the sodium atom. Atomic number 11, mass number 23. So tuangalia mass atomic number 2. So ikiwa na atomic number of 11, it means it also has 11 electrons. Yeah, sodium atom. Now, so 11 electrons, so ni 281. It can lose 1 to be now 28. Now, and therefore it loses 1 electron to give you now sodium plus. Tutafaa tuchore sodium plus. So this sodium, we tachora 2 shells or 2 energy levels. 1, 2. The second shell, tachora 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then we close it. So that is sodium plus. Siona rahisi. So tuna close kuonesha kuwa ni ion. Then we put the plus there. Usiandike 1 plus. Chloride ion from the chlorine atom. Chlorine iko number 17, so it's 287. Chlorine. So ikiwa ita gain, so it's going to become 288. So it gains 1 electron. So if it gains, it's going to become Cl minus, which is, yeah, it's 288 in short. So 288. So let's draw the chlorine. So Cl, so 3 shells, 1, 2, tumia lots of space. This is chlorine. By the way, ndo maana kuna mass number. I didn't realize that. There's better pia. So 1, hebu nichore vizuri. There's a mass number. Mass number imewekwa kwa sababu ya reason. So mass number is 35. So protons ni 17. Neutrons itakuwa 35 minus 17, which will give you 18 neutrons. So katika kuchora the nucleus tutachora 13 protons, not 13 protons, 17 protons, which is very small here. Chora 17 protons and 18 neutrons. So this is the nucleus. So 1, 2, and we have 3. So let's use dots for now. Kwa sababu tumeambiwa use dots cross. You can use any. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hii ni 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ewe, nimekosea kitu. So hii ni nucleus. Sije kaandika nimekosea hapa. So this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ile 8th one kwa vile ya gain 1 electron, it gains from someone, especially it can gain from sodium, potassium. So lazima uchore cross kuonesha kuwa imetoka kwa atom ingine. So imegain kutoka, so that electron doesn't belong to chlorine initially. So utaandika minus. Hapo pia nimekosea kwa sodium, ndio maana nimeshtukizia sahihi. So hapo kwa sodium mass number ni 23. So 11 protons, 23 minus 11, you're going to get 12 neutrons. So 12 neutrons. So 12 neutrons. So hapa tofaa tuchore 11 protons and 12 neutrons. So yeah, hiyo tu. And again, we don't have much. I don't have much to say apart from subscribe to the channel. In case you have any questions, please ask me. So share it to your friends as well. That's my number. Niko na group. Join the group. Kidogo tu. So join the group. So inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.